Greetings everyone. I am Advocate Tasmin Singh from NRI Legal Services and I'm here to apprise you about the tax liabilities and its allied issues for buying and selling of properties in India, especially for NRIs. Nowadays, it's extremely difficult to maintain your house properties, especially when you're not around. If you are an NRI who has stayed abroad for many years and now is contemplating to sell their properties back home, then finding a buyer is an enormous task. However, the greater challenge is to be on top of all of your tax related matters. Tax and regulations are different for NRIs and resident Indians. However, investments in the Indian property market are treated at par for both Indian residents and NRIs. There are certain issues that you might need to be aware of if you want your transactions to be smoother and hassle free. These issues pertain to the nature of property, the tax liabilities, repatriating the funds, whether or not an NRI can sell their property through a power of attorney, whether or not an NRI can sell their property to a fellow NRI or a foreigner, and whether or not an NRI can take loans from the bank or from financial institutions. Now let me start with the nature of property. What kind of a property can an NRI purchase? They can be all sorts, residential, commercial, but the only property type that an NRI cannot purchase is an agricultural land, a plantation property or a farmhouse. The next topic is tax liabilities. Now, the most important tax that is applicable on selling of a property in India is a capital gains tax. If you sell your property before 2 years of its date of purchase, short-term capital gain tax is applicable, and if you sell it after 2 years, long-term capital gain tax is applicable. If the property is inherited, the cost for the previous owner becomes the basis of the calculation of the capital gains. Now, TDS. TDS is short for tax deducted at source. It is calculated at 20.6% for long-term capital gain tax and 30.9% for short-term capital gain tax. Now, moreover, there is a surcharge and educational and health cess also that prevails during selling of your property. Now, for example, if your property is above 50 lakhs and under 1 crore, then 10% surcharge is applicable and 4% of educational and health cess. TDS is calculated on the sale value of the property and not the capital gains. Let's talk about refund of TDS. If an NRI has a lower tax slab applicable to him, then he can simply file for the refund of TDS by filing his income tax return. But if you want to completely avoid the refund process, you can simply apply for a certificate for deducting the TDS at a lower rate by just filing under the jurisdictional assessment officer in the income tax department. Now let's talk about how to save the capital gains tax. NRIs can invest their capital gains into bonds that are issued by the National Highway Authority of India or the Rural Electrification Corporation. These are redeemable after 5 years. However, there is a limit of rupees 50 lakhs. Exemption on this limit can be obtained if you invest into the bonds in 6 months of selling your property. The other question is, how can you avoid double taxes since you're NRIs? Many countries tax the income of their residents regardless of where it originates from. Some countries provide partial exemption, some total, and some do not provide any. So you need to be aware of the incumbent rules in your country of residence. For example, if you're an NRI based out of the US, you will have to declare the capital gains and losses that you had in while selling your property in India, as US has a double tax avoidance agreement with India. So you will be able to deduct the taxes that you paid in India while calculating the capital gains. I'll give you an example of one of our clients. He purchased a property in the year 2010-2011 and sold it in the year 2019 to 20 for rupees 2 crores, and he purchased it for rupees 1 crore. In this case, the property is adjusted for inflation using the cost inflation index. This adjusted inflation cost of the property is calculated by a formula, which is the cost of acquisition into the cost inflation index of the year of sale divided by the cost inflation index of the year of acquisition. Now let's discuss about repatriating funds. There are certain guidelines for the same that NRIs and PIOs, that is persons of Indian origin, should be aware of if they want to repatriate the sale proceeds of after selling a property in India. There are two main conditions. Firstly, the property purchased should be under the FEMA directives. Secondly, the amount repatriated cannot exceed the original amount paid for the property if the property was acquired through foreign exchange and remitted through normal banking channels or FCNR-B deposit accounts. There are also certain circumstances due to which NRIs or PIOs cannot repatriate more than $1 million per financial year. First circumstance is if the property purchased was out of rupee source of funds. Secondly, if the property was acquired by a way of gift, then the sale proceeds will have to be transferred into the NRO account and then repatriated further. Thirdly, if the property is inherited from an Indian resident, then a documentary evidence proving the inheritance has to be produced, as well as an undertaking has to be given by the NRI, and a certificate from an authorized chartered accountant will be required. An NRI may repatriate sale proceeds even if the property is sold to somebody outside India, but prior approval of RBI would be required. For countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, China, Iran, prior approval of the RBI is required if repatriation of the funds has to occur. Now let's talk about NRI selling their properties through power of attorneys. Power of attorneys are basically instruments through which an NRI can delegate his power or her power to a fellow friend or a relative or anybody in India, by which they can execute the sale on behalf of the NRI. So the power of attorneys can be special or general according to whatever roles they want to devolve upon the power of attorney holder. Now let's move on to the next question. Can an NRI avail home loan from banks or other financial institutions? Well, the RBI has given a general permission to banks and other housing finance companies which are under the National Housing Bank to provide loans to NRIs who want to buy residential property in India. These loans are sanctioned in Indian currency and have to be repaid in the same way. However, the loan amount cannot be credited directly to the bank accounts of the NRIs. They are disbursed through the sellers or the developers' bank accounts. The loan can be repaid through the NRI's NRO or NRE bank accounts. Now, what are these bank accounts? The NRO, the NRE, the FCNR bank accounts. The NRE bank account is basically an account which and only an NRI can open, and not even their power of attorney. This bank account is opened so that the NRI can deposit their overseas earnings into India. The NRO account can be opened to deposit income earned in India. Overseas earnings cannot be deposited into the NRO account by the NRI. Next is the FCNR account. The FCNR account permits you to save money, which is overseas earnings, in a foreign currency in a manner of a fixed deposit. You can open an FCNR account with 2 or more NRIs, basically like a joint account. Now the next question is whether or not an NRI can sell properties to a fellow NRI or another foreigner. An NRI, if already owns an agricultural or a plantation property or a farmhouse in India, cannot sell their property to another NRI. However, residential or commercial properties can be sold to other NRIs or foreign citizens. I hope you found this video informative. In case you have any queries regarding tax liabilities for buying and selling of properties in India, please leave a comment in the comment section. Also, you can write to us at query@nrilegalservices.com. Thank you.